Hello, I'm Kate A. Hardy, and welcome to Tales from the Vestry, readings from my novels and short stories. Today I'd like to read an extract from my recently published book, published by Tartarus Press, called Londonia. Londonia is set in London in 2072, when London has become two separate states, the Sancture, which is the middle portion guarded by copper walls and contains the elite and the extremely wealthy, and Londonia is a sprawl of a place containing everybody else getting by, on the whole with good community spirit. And this extract concerns Hoxton, who is the heroine of the story, and she's a finder, somebody who finds and trades objects of importance, and she is now visiting Bert the Swagger, who is somebody who actually combs the Thames for items and other places, and she's hoping to find what she needs, but she's not looking forward to the visit. Okay. Zorro stretches luxuriously in the early sun. How wonderful to be a cat. No decisions other than where to crap, which mouse to chase, and where to sit in the sun. Philosophy over, I go to find a woolly lair and commence the jobs until the routine is finished. This morn I must start the finds, and I'd rather get Bert out of the way in good daylight. He'll go for booze, porn of course, and my trump card, an excellent pair of patent leather brogues. I still have 2 bottles of valuable Burgundy wine from 2036 found in the Lord's cellar, and a stack of zietporn which I'm eking out in trade with Bert when the need arises, so to speak. After writing the items in my trade book, I bag it all up, saddle Kafka, and lead him out into the mayhem of the Londonia morn. Taking a deep breath, I prepare myself for the visit to come. I'm not exactly scared of Bert. If it came to a fight, I'd probably win against his smallish, puffing form. It's just something about his proximity that makes me feel uncomfortable, a memory I can't quite clinch from some part of my past. It's a pleasure, however, to be riding out on this breezy, cold morn, seeing people attacking their plots of garden and pilched bits of land, earth being turned, saplings planted on what was rubbly nothing. The idea of making any spare potentially fertile ground into local food production is, and has been, increasing over these last few cycles, thanks to the perma-farm community benevolently spreading their words and plants. The strident sound of barge horns causes Kafka's ears to crank up. We are nearly at Black Lake and our destination. A few paces on, and Bert's territory comes into view. Despite his stature, he manages to command eerie respect over would-be raiders of his patch. The legs of his black-planked stilt hut are no longer immersed in mud, as the tide heights have gradually increased again over the cycles. The building now stands like an angular crane fly some distance from the water's edge, the rest of Bert's domain behind it in the shape of a large metal hangar guarded by 2 board heavies by day and roaming hounds during darking time. At my approach, one of the mechs stands up and squints at me. Then he recognises my top hat and Kafka's grey hide. "Miss Hoxton!" Striding over, he wrestles the gate lock with meaty hands. "The Gav is in the small house. He said to go up." This is not a sign. Bert in the small house. Any lane. I slip down from Kafka and hand over the reins. The mech leads Kafka over to Bert's horse parking, and I lift my long coat ends from the mud, step around the puddles and take the thin ladder up to his abode. I rap on the glass of the door, and his oddly aristocratic voice answers. "If it's you, Hoxton, come in. Anyone else can vertically saunter off again." Opening the door, I'm greeted by the sight of the house owner, clad in a paisley silk dressing gown, tied worryingly loosely around his ample waist. "Good morning, Bert." "And to you, beauty." "You got my pigeon message?" "Indeed. Fine 4 ladies in need of antique communication devices. Well, antique in age, but a technology beyond our usage at this present time. Curious that, don't you think?" Bert, a philosopher. And he's right. It is odd. Humans taking a step backwards, a technological descent. It is curious, I agree. Do you think people in that era imagined technology actually going downhill? "They didn't," he says, relighting the stub of a cigar. "Onward and forward with the next gadget. Take these phones, for example, always bigger and brighter, more detail and definition." But what were they for, these small screens? Why were my clients so fascinated? They already appear to have telephones to contact each other. "Ah, dear Hoxton, have you not read up on the subject, after I showed you these jewels on your last visit?" "No, I don't have time or light, and any I do manage currently are about improving soil and water capture." "Tsk. These things of metal, plastic and glass were quite extraordinary. Just with the brushing of one's finger across the surface, you could find out, listen to, look at any article you desired to access." "Unlimited access?" He nods, a manic look in his eyes. "Virtually visit the interior of a world-famous site. Watch amusing films of people's domestic creatures. Find out any historical fact. Learn how to make bread." "But books can tell me that, and I can make bread." "Ah, but there's so much more." A slight film of sweat has appeared under Bert's sandy comb-over. He leans closer. "Imagine an ocean of sexual acts, available to you through that little screen, whatever your persuasion." I step back and trip over a small embroidered footstool. He grabs my arm and pulls me back, face close to mine, whiskey and tobacco breath wheezing through his overworked lungs. I push him away and present my carpet bag. "Well, while technology is rotting away in your barn over there, enjoy some paper substitutes." He stops pouring me and looks hopefully at the bag as I pull out and splay 3 lurid works. Quite titillating. But 4 devices, you say, with their necessary cabling?" "4, yes." "And no doubt they will require pristine examples." I can see only too well which direction this is heading in. Within reason, yes. But you have many. I was given the tour, if you recall. "Yes, I have a many, but a large percentage of them are beyond any possible reconnection. Their interiors leached away by rotting batteries, bodies dented, smashed. Only useful for their components. I do, however, have a small collection which are completely mint, with their boxes." "I see. One question, Bert. Serif, how do you come to have all these items?" He smooths the strand of hair that have flopped loose and smiles, revealing an array of gold teeth that would impress a Vauxhaller's gang member. "Because, my dear, I had a shop that sold these very things." "You did, in the sanctuary?" "This was long cycles before the sanctuary walls were built, when London was just London, made up of many boroughs. I left with a lot of my stock during the chaos of the final curtain, and the Fascocom party took over, albeit for a short reign. I'd heard they were planning a scoop of all technological equipment, so for that and many other reasons I thought the largely ignored outer zones might be a better place to disappear to. I wonder if other swaggers may have squirreled away such things from that time." He guesses my thoughts. I wouldn't bother Hoxton. They come to me. I have the biggest collection of pre-curtain communication, and I know the supply limitations in the sanctuary. They may be starting up the internet, or interweb as they are calling it, but it's only for central computer usage. Public playing about is a long way off. How do you come to know all this? I come from there, Serif. Still have family in Mayfair and the occasional letter communication. So if I take these things back, they may not be able to use them. Do you care? Do I? I suppose not. And what do you get in return? That's not really your business, is it? It must be more than just straightforward trading. Perhaps I could assist you. I feel the day slipping away. It's fine, thanks. Perhaps I could see the items? He gestures to a floral armchair. Certainly. Make yourself comfortable. Whisky in the decanter there if you wish, and I will return tout de suite. I sit as invited and glance around his curiously feminine and fussy abode full of Victoriana objects, needlework cushions and twee paintings that sit uncomfortably with his taste in more fleshy activities. He reappears attired in a brown and black checked suit, fraying yellow shirt and odd shoes. Staring at them, I recall the brogues. Shame the shoes don't do the suit justice, Bert. However, I may be able to assist you. I open my bag and hand him the cloth-wrapped beauties. He gawps, checks the sizing, kicks off the odds and tries mine. Well played, mademoiselle. So we're on the same page? Shoes and magazines for the 4 phones? He looks up from admiring the leather. Not quite. We begin the trade standoff, weighing up each other's will. I'm close to pushing him over his chintzy sofa, yanking the shoes from his feet and scrambling back down the ladder. But to fail this find, God's own phone these dames will be paying. Dak, show me the articles and not in those shoes. He grins, removes them and slips back on the tan mismatches. To the hangar then. After the warmth of Bert's fuggy stilt house, it's vile outside. A greasy wind gyrates around the muddied compound, flicking up ash and bones. We hurry over to the hangar, and the 2 guards leave their bin fire to slide open the massive wheeled door. Inside, Bert wrenches gruntily at the cord on an ancient generator, and it reluctantly spits into life, disgorging sooty fumes. 2 suspended metal-shaded lights pop on, and I gaze at the lines of shelving, their perspective lines disappearing into the darkness at the back of this metal building. Bert waves a leather-gloved hand at each section. River mud finds, metal, wood and ceramic, nails, screws, tools, there, wheels and vehicle parts. Over here, computers and associated paraphernalia, and what you are after. I follow him to a compartmentalised section of metal containers. He draws one out, unlocks it, and carefully takes out plastic-encased, flattish white cardboard boxes. These were de rigueur in 2025, the iPhone soft screen Z and the Samsung Orgo. Note how exquisite they are, how smooth the glass is. I take the slippery object, hold it to my ear and nearly drop it. Why is it flat and not shaped like a handle or something ergonomic? He smiles at me as if I'm a very, very old person. I think it is impossible of someone of now to understand the design element and usefulness of such a thing. I think you are probably utterly correct. Spades are useful, horses, wood-burning stoves, paper, ink, pens, books and strong boots are useful, with or without a design element. He takes the object back from me, wraps it lovingly and places it back in its moulded nest. 4 of these with their charges will trade out at the shoes, the 3 magazines, that bottle I saw in your bag, an excellent year, and 5 minutes of your time. Doing what exactly, I say, having a fairly clear idea. A short while later, I gallop Kafka along the river edge, concentrating on the sound of his hooves drumming on the mud flats, shutting out the sounds of Bert the Swagger gasping in a shadowy corner of the warehouse. My hand still bears the imprint of his unpleasant member. At least he'd been accurate in timing. A few turns of my pocket watch's hands, and he was a happier Swagger, and I was out of there with my trade accomplished, including a remote for Mrs. Caruso's television. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back soon with maybe another short story or another extract from this book or one of my novels. So, bye till the next time.